Hey, what's up, Life Without Pants with another Path of Exile video, and in today's video we're going to talk about this EA Ballista Elementalist League starter. This is a really great build for pushing the Atlas and getting yourself into red maps pretty comfortably. I would say honestly this is like an A-tier bossing, not bossing, but A-tier mapping and getting into the end game very, very quickly. It's really, really comfortable, especially if you get a little bit of money behind you from Infinite Heist. So I think I'm definitely going to be doing that. The playstyle is basically, as you can see here, you just pop down your totems and you run around whilst they burn everything to death. So there's the totems have it's a explosive arrow build. So basically your totems just fire arrows into a target, and then after I think it's a second, then those arrows all explode and deal fire damage, and we get a few big boosts from the tree. So the first one is Elemental Overload. This means you get you don't get extra crit strikes, but you do more elemental damage with your hits and ailments. And then the second is Elemental Equilibrium, and as you can see here, hits that deal elemental damage remove exposure to those elements and inflict exposure to other elements. So that means if you hit something with lightning damage, then it's going to take 25% more fire damage, 25% more cold resistance. So if you hit it with lightning and cold, then you're going to be like a huge buff to your damage. And if you do fire damage, that's going to really hobble your damage. So you definitely don't want to be doing any fire damage with this build, even though it's an ignite build. So if you mouse over your, this is my explosive arrow here, you can see pretty near the top there in the blue text, we've got 17 to 29 cold damage. We've got explosion deals extra fire damage, etc, etc, etc. But there is at no point does it say you do this much fire damage, and that's what's really, really making a lot of our lives easier. So as I showed you the playstyle, you just run around and ideally pick up loot. Oh, there's lots of fractured items here, amazing. And it's a really, really comfortable and easy build to play. You can do, I personally am gonna definitely go straight into Infinite Heist. We're gonna have a look at, I've got another build for that as well. Well, not another build, but another PoB of this build for that. This is especially good for doing like grand design, maybe with expedition. I'm not sure if we're going to do grand design yet, because the tree, the passive Atlas passive tree, has not yet been released. And from the little bits that we could see of the Atlas passive tree, it seems like there's more travel nodes now, so more smaller nodes and not as many large nodes and notables. So it seems like that's going to be a bit of an issue, because grand design really, really popped off when you could have a lot of pack size from all the notables that you could quite easily get to with the number of skill points you had on the Atlas. Now, if that's going to be an issue, then maybe grand design is not going to be the play. But there was one particular line in the patch notes. Maybe I've got the patch notes up here. I do not. Let's just go and have a quick look for those. There was one particular thing in here. I think if we just look for pack size. In addition, we've added a new keystone passive that scarabs using your map device provide increased pack size rather than their usual modifiers. This is going to be huge if the bonuses are decent. If they are, then that's the way to go with grand designs. So you do grand designs and that, chuck in some junk scarabs that you don't care about, and hope that you get lots and lots of expedition chance. They say they've added more expedition nodes on the tree. So that's how I would try to affect that. If there's too many travel nodes for grand design to be viable, we're going to take a look as soon as maybe by the time this video has been uploaded. It's taken some time these days. Maybe by the time this video has been uploaded, actually the Atlas passive tree will have been released, and then we can take a look at it. But for the moment, we're just going to be, reserve our thoughts and our judgment. And let's have a look at a path of building. Oh, there's a chaos orb. Let's take that. Okay, so here's a PoB, and for this, I've got, see, you can see down here, we've got Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 7 swap to EA Ballista. If you want to swap in Act 7, I think probably Act 8 is a bit better to swap to Explosive Arrow. And then maybe, you can swap whenever whenever feels comfortable to you. I would say Act 7 or 8 is probably the best time. And then Act 8 and 9, 10/Endless Heist. So maybe you want to be doing some Endless Heist just to get some money up. There's a few items here. I've got a item set for Endless Heist. I've also got a video on Endless Heist that's going to be linked in the description down below. Then we've got white maps, yellow maps, and red maps as well. So there's trees for all of these things. I think I've actually got skill sets for all of them as well. So if you go to here, like this is Act 2. There's also the offhand leveling gems you want to take with you. And then, offhand leveling, you want to have Explosive Arrow, Ballista Totem, elemental damage with attacks, etc., etc., etc. So it's pretty comprehensive. It's probably the most comprehensive part of building I've ever made. And I really enjoy making it. But let's talk about the tree relatively quickly. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to wake up on the beach, go kill Hillock. You're going to go and buy Stormblast Mine because that is crazy good. So Stormblast Mine, if you want a Mule Scion, you can then get Onslaught support as well. You don't have to, it's up to you. I at the moment, I'm leaning towards doing it, but I'm going to be trying to zoom in around. So I think that's pretty decent XP and monies when you can get there faster. So first of all, you're going to go to Arcanist Dominion, and then we're going to go to a Lightning Walker. And at this point, you should be, I think it's a level 8 at this point, or level 9. And this is, basically, this is when you're going to go kill Brutus. If you get Lightning Walker, then it's it feels really, really decent. And you would want to get 1 Lightning Craft on your Wands or Scepters, because then you can go Leap Slam, then you go a lot faster. But if you can get 1 Lightning Craft on your Scepter, that's a flat lightning damage to spells that costs you, I believe you need a Magic Wand or Scepter. You need a Orb of Alteration, which you get from selling identified items to the vendor. And you need a Topaz Ring, which is the Lightning Resistance Ring. And that can be just a white item, and then you get a level 8+ craft for your Scepter or Wand. And that's going to make the Brutus fight feel so much better. I promise. It's going to feel a lot better. I actually would go for this, level 12. I would probably go for these instead of up here. And then we're going to go straight into Act 2. So you're going to come along here, you're going to grab Elemental Overload. That's going to be a nice boost to your damage. These, honestly, Might and Agility, you can take these if you need them to level skills higher. I do, but basically I do when I need it, if I need it. So I might be using a Jade Amulet, so I don't have to take the Agility one, or I might use a Strength Amulet, so I don't have to take Might. Whatever feels good for you in the moment. And then Act 3... This is, so we come over here, we've taken the Life Mastery and Purity of Flesh, we get some extra life. We got Quick Recovery, because this is just, this is a really nice mana regen section over here. Then we're going to come down here, we're going to take Ash, Frost, and Storm. This is going to be a nice bit, this is the first big boost to your damage after Elemental Overload, to go like an act without any major boost to your damage, other than through spell levels on your gems, which is quite big anyway. And then we're going to come down here. You might want to take the 15% Ores as well on this. It depends how your gear is looking. If you're a little bit worried about it, take it. If you're not, then don't. Shaper, which is absolutely brilliant because you get life regen, even though it's not that much, but it's something. And then the mana regen rate is really good there. And then we're going to come down to the Scion Life Wheel, and we're going to take Constitution. And obviously you want to take, like the 10% increased maximum life and 10% reduced life recovery rate. That's really, really strong here. If we go into Act 4, you can see it's actually the next thing I take. If we go into Act 4 here, then we're just coming down to Sentinel. We're taking Mage Bane, so we've got some spell suppression. You do get a decent amount of dexterity on this build. And Act 4 is the point where, in between Act 3 and Act 4, is where I would swap into Armageddon Brand and Cremation. Now, Armageddon Brand and Cremation, if you have Onslaught support from Muling Scion, then you're going to want to go blue-blue-green for your Armageddon Brand, because the amount of speed you get from the Onslaught is so good. It feels so good. And you can also take Firewalker because then you get increased cast speed with fire skills. That it applies to the brands. That means they fire 5% faster. 25% increased fire damage is nice, and obviously 15% fire res was just nice and comfy. We're gonna take Aura Effect and Sovereignty over here. That means you'll be able to still have a bunch of mana whilst also having Herald of Ash and summon Skitterbots. So your Skitterbro's going to be wandering around, shocking and chilling everything. And then obviously, Cremation is your single target. Now, then once you get into Act 5, we're just going to take like this evasion wheel up here. So evasion, and at this point, we're then also going to go straight into Act 6, and we're going to take this wheel here. This Hired Killer is so good. It's so good. 2% of life recovered on kill. If you're just this allows you to just wade through enemies and survive, which is really, really nice, especially in the early second round that you're doing it. Second round you're doing the campaign. Then Act 7, basically, I'm coming over here, I'm taking Charisma, the Charisma wheel. This means that it's, again, like, it just feels extra comfortable. You get even more mana to be able to deal with all the enemies around you. And then once you get into the swap to Explosive Arrow, basically you're taking the Totem wheel over here. You do have to, obviously you have to be taking Elemental Equilibrium when you're swapping into totems. And then you're going to take this side of the Primal Manifestation Totem Wheel and Ancestral Bond. And that means you don't deal damage with skills yourself, and also you have a +1 number of summoned totems. At this point as well, for Armageddon Brand, you could also take this damage over time multiplier wheel here, including Acrimony, because obviously ignites are damage over time multi, and that's exactly what you're going to be doing with your Explosive Arrow. I take totems taunt enemies around them for 1 second when summoned. This means just less damage to us in general. But this is the basic setup once you get into Act 7 or 8. I think Blood Aqueducts is a reasonable place to be doing this. So you just killed Solaris and Lunaris, and then you've swapped into Explosive Arrow. It's going to feel a little bit janky, I'm not going to lie, a little bit janky, depending on what kind of gearing you've got. And then for Endless Heist, these are the other things I would take. So I would definitely take this Evasion Mastery wheel over here. 10% move speed if you haven't taken damage recently. You could just go finish the game and jump straight into white maps if you want, but for Endless Heist, this is the kind of tree I would have set up for that. At this point, for Endless Heist, I would also remove this wheel over here. We take these away as well. This gives us a few more points to play with. And then eventually you'll get into white maps, and at this point I would just remove this section entirely, and I would take the Avatar of the Hunt, so this attack speed with bows, because Explosive Arrow rather, is a attack, so attack speed is very, very good. This Avatar of the Hunt, you get move speed, you get damage over time with bows, bow skills. Over here there's accuracy rating, which is really good, attack speed and dexterity, and then quick step is just is fantastic. 10% spell suppress and 6% move speed. And then over here we can come and get Bravery and Art of the Gladiator, some extra move speed, some extra attack speed, got more dexterity, Deadly Draw. These are just like damage over time bow sections. And then over here, Golem's Blood. This is a really, really nice recovery node. And then we're just going to come down into the Totem Mastery wheel over here. So we've got Ironwood, Panopticon, and Surveillance. You may not want to take Ironwood. Honestly, it's up to you. It's like how do your totems feel? If they feel like they're dying a lot, then take these two. If they don't, then don't just don't bother with them. So that's what it looks in white maps. And then in yellow maps, you're gonna just fill out a couple of these over here. So we've got the one with Nature with some extra Ellie res just for a little less gear pressure. We've got Intuition, so for some extra spell suppression and increased max life, and then Herbalism. And then obviously into red maps, we're coming down here to the Watchtowers tree. This is really, really good. It gives you an extra summon, an extra totem. And also there is this medium cluster here. And there's one useful node on this, which is Sleepless Sentries. So I think we can demonstrate here. So if I put down my totem, then I get Onslaught. And Onslaught is 20% move speed, and it's 20% attack and cast speed. So if I put down, I think it's right at the bottom down here. Yeah, so my action speed modifier, my movement speed is 42%, and then it's up to 63. And that's really, really good, because not only is it just easier for you to run around, but it means that when you do come across enemies, obviously you're attacking them a lot faster, and you're getting more fuses into them, which then explode and do a bigger ignite. So this, I believe, Sleepless Sentries, I think only rolls on 68 plus medium clusters with totem damage. So that's what you're going to have to aim for. You can just start off, like, you don't have to have these 2 points. You can just put these 2 on and get Sleepless Sentries, and that's it, because it's just basically permanent onslaught. You're always going to be having a totem summoned when you're playing this build, because that's the whole build. Remember, you can't deal damage with skills yourself, so you can just put those on and you just put permanent onslaught, and that's, it's a couple of skill points for basically a flask replacement, which is huge. And then for me, during League launch, I always try to get a 4 or a 5 passive totem, 68, I level 68 plus totem cluster, and then I just ult spam it until I get Sleepless Sentries. When I do hit Sleepless Sentries, I throw a Regal on it as well, because maybe I'll hit something like Ancestral Reach or Ancestral Protect. I think there's a few other ones. I think they're all pretty decent. 12% increased totem damage is nice, but if you can get this one, I mean, this is 25% increased totem damage. If you can get something like that, it's great. If you can't, just, I just ult spam for this. I think it's like 37 alterations and appropriate number of augments to be able to get Sleepless Sentries on a totem cluster. So it's fairly easy, and I think it's super worth it. Oh, the damage over time mastery you can take over here is increased skill duration of elements on enemies. That's really, really strong. So as far as labs go, the first lab you should take, for me personally, this is Shaper of Flames. So it's around level 35 or level 33. Take Shaper of Flames, then all your hits are always igniting, because at this point you probably have migrated into Armor Brand and Cremation. Then I think if you want Explosive Arrow to feel good, then I think you should also get Mastermind of Discord. It's not mandatory, it just makes you feel really comfortable. For the third one, if you're going to be an Infinite Heist, I would suggest going with Bastion of Elements, just because you get the Aegis and it makes it a lot easier. It's just so much easier. You can also go with Heart of Destruction, because you get Convergence as well. And Convergence is increased area of effect, which means that your Ignite Prolif is going to spread to a bunch of other stuff relatively easy. So I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 if I was doing Infinite Heist. If I wasn't doing Infinite Heist, I'd do 1, 2, 3, 4, because then the Bastion of Elements comes along once I'm into basically yellow maps. That's when you usually do Uberlab. So this is what the tree looks like. Let's have a look very quickly at the gear. So basically for Act 1, all you really need is these, lightning damage to spells, Wandcraft, they're really bad. Then for Act 3, you're moving into fire damage. You're going to want to take these as extra fire damage to spells. Crafts on the Scepters, because then the Scepters, maybe you've gone to Imperial Gardens and done or Library and done the quest with Siosa, which allows you to buy any gem in Act 3. Or you could just, ask your friendly neighborhood people to buy you Leap Slam and faster attacks, or whatever it is that you want. But either way, when you're going to get these in Act 3, you're going to be probably moving into Armageddon Brand, and then that's when you're definitely going to want some added fire damage to your spells. It makes it feel super comfortable. For Endless Heist, this is a relatively... I think, the jewels. I've got some jewels in here. just get life on them. Just get, you know, life. Burning damage is good. Fire damage over time multiplier is good. There's, yeah, if you're missing some resistances, it's a great place to pick up a few like missing resistances. For Endless Heist, there's a very tried and trusted set of uniques that will just allow you to blast through Endless Heist so quickly. So Stormcloud, this is like a 1C unique pretty much. It's really easy to get a hold of. It does super increased attack speed, no fizz damage, adds lightning damage. This is great for explosive arrow because this is exactly what you want. Skirmish, this does, you know, you get an extra totem. This is fantastic. 25% increased global accuracy isn't bad either. I believe it's actually 20 to 30% as the implicit. Helmet Devotos is brilliant. You get some chaos rares, you get move speed, you know, some extra dex and stuff. It's really strong for this, just the move speed alone. I've also used Gold Rim as well in the past just because I was looking to pick up some extra resistances and it was really easy. You could also take the new, I can't remember what the Wolf Pelt helmet, which just grants you Onslaught. Maybe it's not a Wolf Pelt helmet. There's a new helmet, just gives you Onslaught. You could probably take that as well. Maybe you don't have your medium cluster yet. There's a few options here, but Devotos is the best one. And Infinite Heist is really good. Level 67 plus. Or level, just, you know, hanging around level 67. Body armor, Queen of the Forest, obviously big movement speed. So my movement speed here is 136%. If you do that, it's down to 135. That doesn't seem right. Maybe if I put Storm Wrap on. No, maybe I don't have my flasks or something activated. Well, regardless, this is because we have so much evasion. Maybe I need to. I need to change my to that. And then now let's see what happens. Hopefully this doesn't go wrong. 128 to 130. Well, I don't know what's going on there. But the Queen of the Forest really does give you a bunch of extra move speed. It's got a little bit of resistance as well, which is nice. But you do get a lot of move speed from this, and it makes it feel very comfortable to go to Endless Heist. Gloves, you're just going to pick up some life and resistances on these. These are the ring here and the gloves. These are the two things that you want to, you know, these are your flex spots basically. So if let's just select none on them. So you have not a huge amount of fire resist, cold and lightning. This is because I don't have, I guess, purity of elements, which is one of the skills we'll get into in a minute. So with the gloves here, then I pick up a bunch of extra fire resistance. So and then with the ring, oh, it's a new item card limits. There we go. So now we're at 75, 75, 75. So with these gloves, it's just a really great place to add in some extra resistances. The same with the ring. For the boots, we're going 3-step assault because, you know, 30% chance to avoid elemental ailments while phasing. We're going to be phasing quite a lot with this build. 25% move speed is really nice, and then 100% increased evasion whilst you have Onslaught. Really good for Queen of the Forest. For our amulet, a Karui Ward, and a Queen of the Forest. You don't have to get this. I think so. The Storm Cloud is 1 chaos or 2 maybe. The Skirmish is going to be 1 or 2 chaos. Devotos is usually around 10 chaos. So that's doing chaos recipe for like 20 minutes or something. Body armor, the Queen of the Forest is going to be a lot. It's going to be maybe, I think last league it was like 80 chaos or something for a 5-link. So, or pre-coming, you know, it comes pre-5-linked. For the 3-step assault, these are like 1 or 2 chaos. They're really cheap. Karui wards are usually like 3 or 4 chaos early, like on the first day. Apraxis is 2 chaos probably. And that's just like, it's minus mana cost of skills. You regenerate a flat amount of mana per second. It's got some extra mana as well. But also damage taken gained as mana over 4 seconds when hit. That's quite nice. So Praxis is a couple of chaos. Ascent from Flesh. This is the phasing belt you get. So you have phasing if you have Energy Shield has started recently. You get some auras. You get extra evasion rating. It's a flat evasion rating and movement speed while phasing. So this is a very decent belt, and it's again like 1 or 2 chaos for this one. Then getting into flasks. Honestly, I just took, like, I think these are, I believe these are just trash flasks. I think they're like, I don't know, level 65 or something flasks. So you just get a granite flask and alt spam it until you get increased armor. Get a jade flask and, you know, put on increased alt spam until you get evasion, 50% increased evasion rating during flask effect. Get a quartz flask and put on attack speed. Get a movement flask and then just spam until you get movement speed. And then a corrupted blood immunity life flask. It's a very standard life flask setup. It's nothing too out of the ordinary. Now, when it comes to the late game, this is basically these are the items I have on right now, and they're largely deterministically craftable. So obviously, once you start doing endless heist, you're going to get some money. You could go for porcupine cards and get yourself a short bow? I think it's a short bow. It's like a eye level 50 short bow. You can just get these to get something like this. I think mine is an item level 50 short bow. So I made this out of porcupine cards. And you can just get these shrieking essences of dread. You can see here they have for bows, they do +2 to level socketed bow gems. You just spam. I think if we hold down Alt here, then it will say that the +2 level socketed bow gems is. Oh, I thought it would say that it's an essence, but it doesn't. So you just essence spam with +2 level of socketed bow gems, and what you're looking for is not primarily to not have added flat fire. And for me, then that was basically it. So as long as I alt spammed until I got, not alt spammed, I essence spammed until I got +2 level of socketed bow gems, which is every time, and 1 suffix free, 1 prefix free, and no level of socketed bow gems. Then you go and do, I believe it is cannot roll attack modifiers. Which I think is a suffix. Yeah, so cannot roll attack modifiers. You go and throw that on your bow, and then you exalt slam, and you're guaranteed to roll +1 level of socketed gems. So now you got a +3 bow. Then you can come and craft on whatever you want. Fire damage over time multiplier is very, very good. If you don't have any other source of flat damage on your build anywhere, then this is a great time to put it onto the bow. I believe I've got it from my gloves or something. Yeah, add 6 to 13 cold damage to attacks from my gloves. I got the implicit. So the bow is very easy to make. The Death Rush, you can get this or a Polaric. I can't remember. There's a elemental damage ring from the Polaric Invitation. I can't remember which one it is. They're very strong though. For the quiver, this is super easy. You just get I think it's 80, eye level 80. Broadhead quiver with hunter influence. It's always, spoiler alert, it's always cheaper to make your own bases. And then you just spam, I think it's these deafening essences of doubt. And on a quiver, this gives 480 to 600 accuracy. This is going to solve all your accuracy problems. So you just keep spamming that until you get something decent. And I think it's 1 in 37. Again, 1 in 37 keeps popping up. But you can get fire damage over time multiplier with attack skills, as you can see I've got on the top here. That's very, very decent. And then you can just craft something else on if you want. I wouldn't bother exalt slamming because it's possible you can get fire damage to attacks and it's bricked and you have to start again. Obviously, Diadian Dawn is the best belt. It's best in slot for this build, hands down, maybe apart from Mage Blood, but you're not going to get that on the first couple of days. For your ring, I would recommend going with a Vermilion ring because you could be a little bit short on life on this build. I got 4k. Going with a Vermilion ring with a Warlord influence and then spamming, I believe it's Curse over here in the Horticrafting Station. So you can do, it's Caster, sorry, Caster. So you can spam Reforge rare item random modifiers, including a Caster modifier on this ring, and then you will eventually hit Curse enemies with flammability on hit with 32% increased effect, or rather you would have, but now it's just going to be curse enemies with flammability on hit. We're not going to get the 32% increased effect. So there's a 32% haircut to the flammability because of the automation of it, and GGG, whilst they want to allow that, they don't want it to be the primary way that you deal with curses anymore, I suppose. So just spam it in here until you, with caster reforges the blue life force, until you get flammability and some other decent things that you want. Now, for me personally, I thought that's great. I'm gonna chuck that in there. I got flammability on hit, and I got T4 lightning and T4 cold. Brilliant. And then I did suffixes cannot be changed. I hit it with a veiled chaos orb, which are these ones over here. And then I crafted mana on it to block getting mana, and then unveiled it. And then once that was there, and I had extra, I got the life on it. Then I added the Elrion Veil, which is non-challenging skills have -7 to -6 to total mana cost. So my explosive arrow ballistas only cost 17 mana, so I can throw down 2 very easily. And it takes, I do run out of mana, as you can see, but it's not, for an appreciable amount. I've managed to squeeze in a lot of auras into this build. But yeah, so this is, let's have a look at some of the other gear pieces. So this, I think I just bought this. It's just a +1 level fire skill gems amulet. And this build is a little light on strength. I believe if we open up here, we're 193 strength. So it's got a decent amount of intelligence, but the dexterity and strength, they're towards the low end. So you could go with whichever one you're missing here. I went for, I want fire skill gems, and then I think, a little bit of strength and a bunch of life, and adds cold damage or lightning damage to attacks. So I just bought it off trade, and then I added charisma on it. So I get 16% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. It's a very, very decent amulet. I think I paid like 50 chaos or something for it, but it was like, mid-league. As far as helmets go, if you can get one with increased area of effect, that's great. I think Explosive Arrow has increased attack speed. That is the best one you can get. If you can get that, do it. Then you're just going to want to hit it with as many Eldritch Ichors and the Searing Exarch ones. I always forget what they're called. Embers as possible. And the Ichors will get you increase mana reservation efficiency of skills for the greater ones. I've got lightning resistance for my embers here, just because I don't know, I just spammed it until I found something that was okay. So you really want increased mana reservation efficiency of skills on your helmet, because then it allows you to fit more auras in, which is super important. Then for crafting the actual helmet by itself, then I just went for increased mana reservation efficiency of skills essences, which would be our loathing. I think it's these ones up here. And I spammed those until I got a couple of resistances. That was really good. And then I did suffixes cannot be changed, slam on an Eldritch, another Veiled Chaos, unveiled level of socketed AoE gems. I thought, oh sweet, I might put some auras in here. I believe I had some auras in here before, and then just crafted on. Oh no, I unveiled life rather. Or perhaps I didn't even do that with this. I don't think I've used a Veiled Chaos on this, so ignore all that. So I just spammed this with some Deafening Essences of Loathing until I got something good, and then crafted on AoE gems. As far as the this is my body armor, I went with Grace because I am using Grace. We've got Grace, Determination, Malevolence, Defiance Banner, and Precision. And I went with Grace, has increased aura effect, just because it means we're gonna more evasion is pretty good for especially Queen of the Forest. We're not using Queen of the Forest, ignore that. But also 10% increased non-cursed auras from your skills. That's like Determination and Grace. The evasion and the armor you get from that is really good. This was something where I spammed it with essences. So we got the mana reservation, efficiency of skills, essences here. I believe I used the shrieking ones for some reason because I don't think I had any of the deafening ones around. I crafted a lot of this gear myself. I think everything, in fact, apart from the amulet. And I just kept going. Oh yeah, because I was trying to hit suppressed spell damage. So I just kept going until I hit any tier of suppressed spell damage. And then I suffix can't be changed, Fell Chaos, I unveiled chance to avoid elemental ailments and chance to avoid being stunned, and I just crafted on the T5 life on there. And for my gloves, I got some fractured spell suppression gloves. I think this was the most expensive base I had. I think it's cost like 1 divine. And yeah, this is like the lower end of tier 2 spell suppression, I believe. For 12% spell suppression, it was like 4 divines, so it's 4 times the price for 1% extra spell suppression, and for 14% chance to suppress spell damage, it was insane. I just spammed it with a bunch of Eldritch, the Eater of Worlds, the Embers, to get spell suppression damage. Oh no, that's Eater of Worlds, sorry, so that's Ickers. So I spammed it with a bunch of suppressed spell damage, or with a bunch of Ickers, and I eventually got suppressed spell damage, and then a few Exarch currencies in order to add cold damage to attacks. And that's a decent pair of gloves. And I think after that, I spammed it with essence attack speed essences, and then crafted on life. Not amazing gloves. Like there's a huge amount of room for improvement on these gloves. Obviously, Diadem Dawn, best in slot for your belt. As far as unique or as jewels and other stuff go, you're gonna want a Rain of Splinters. Now, this is gonna be difficult to get because Rain of Splinters no longer drops. It's a corruption only option, so it's gonna be very, very difficult to get these, or not. I don't know. We don't know yet. So this is going to be basically, you're going to want to corrupt every single crimson jewel you come across. If Rain of Splinters is really, really common, that's really good. If not, this sucks, but it is what it is. And yeah, for these jewels, I think I just have some life, cast speed, attack and cast speed, that kind of stuff. So that's basically it for the high level gear. I say high level, like there's loads of opportunities for improvement here in this gear set. As far as skills go, let's just go through them very quickly. So you start off with Stormblast Mine. You want a blue, green, blue. Stormblast Mine, Swift Affliction. That's not right. I'm just going to put Onslaught there. No, not Onslaught. Which is it? What's the green gem you get? We'll figure that out later. It'll be correct in the POB I put in. Orb of Storms and Ellie Prolif is pretty decent. Frostpink, Flame Dash, these are great movement skills. And then if you want to take some things to level offhand, then that's fine. It's not necessary though, because most of the things you can come back and buy leveled already. The only things you really need to level are the things that you get in Act 6 or Act 3 from Siosa, if that's how you do it. So then, we're going to, Swift Assembly, that's it. I'm going to just change that real quick. I got Swift. That's pretty close. So you got Swift Assembly in Act 1, and then Act 2, you're going to keep going with Swift Assembly along with your Stormblast Mine and added lightning damage, Orb of Storms with Ellie Prolif again. Then you're going to pick up Skitterbros and your Herald of Thunder. You're going to keep going with Flame Dash is fine, but if you can get Leap Slam, do. Then these are the things you can buy in Act 2 to level up as you go if you want. Then once you get into Act 3, you have this, this is the same setup as Act 2, but then maybe you want to swap at level 28 because you get Armageddon Brand for killing Gravicious. You get it from Maramosa, whatever her name is, in Act 3. So you can set up this way for Armageddon Brand, Combustion, Control, Destruction, and Faster Casting. That's really, really nice. Cremation, you go with lesser multiple projectiles and Ellie Focus. You can have Flame Dash. You want Herald of Ash now that you're transitioning into a fire skill. Your Skitterbros are still there. And then in Act 4, it's going to be basically you're going to keep this. If you get a oh, actually, yeah. When you kill what's the guy's name? When you kill the angry guy who's always like, "Why are you so in love with death?" In Highgate, the boss of Act 4, then you can go talk to Petrus Varania. And you can get Ignite Prolif, and that's super powerful in Act 5 when you're going through the Chamber of Innocence. Oh, that Prolif is beautiful. For your Act 4 Cremation setup, this is your single target setup, whereas Armageddon Brand is your clear. The Cremation, you can go with any focus and control destruction. That's going to make your bossing feel a lot easier. You get Wave of Conviction too as well if you want. That's like really, really useful. You can burst down bosses during the campaign quite a bit easier. Thank you, Muzz, for that top tip. Let's see, then in Act 5, basically you're going to keep this until you until you swap to Explosive Arrow. And then your Explosive Arrow, this is the order of importance. So obviously you want Explosive Arrow, you want Ballista Totem, you want Ignite Prolif, and then these are all nice to have. You're not going to have a 6-link in Act 7. Oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're going to get a Tabby, who knows. Like, you can drop a Tabby from Hillock, so it's possible. But this is the order that you get it. And GMP is only here because the clear from having Rain of Arrows, or Rain of Splinters rather, is super good. And GMP provides that. If you have a Rain of Splinters, drop GMP, put in, I don't know, like Deadly Ailments or something like that. There's lots and lots of other things you can put in there. For your auras, go with Purity of Elements, Herald of Ice, Grace, Vaal, Haste. These are just, you know, they feel really nice. Purity of Elements, don't have to worry about getting shocked or getting chilled or anything like that. Really, really decent quality of life. Herald of Ice is good for clear. Grace is good for just not getting hit. For your movement, you got Phase 1 efficacy and increased duration. This means that you're going to be phasing a lot of the time. You're going to be running around real quick. And then for a curse setup, you can have Arcanist Brand, Flammability, Combustion, and Wave of Conviction. And you just chuck this Arcanist Brand down on the bosses, and you'll see the Wave of Convictions popping off here, there, and everywhere. It's really, really good. And that's basically it for, like, until you get to, you know, mapping, you swap into Deadly Ailments. Obviously, there is, you know, Awakened Elemental Damage with attacks and Awakened Deadly Ailments. If you can get those things, then do. But this is what it looks like. And my gosh, this has been a long video. What are we at? We're at 40-something minutes. Anyway, this is such a... Like, I've had a lot of fun just seeing how quick I can get to maps with this build, or how quick I can do, like, you know, Blood Aqueduct runs. It's like, man, am I having fun playing the campaign? I hope not. But it's a really strong build. It's really, really good for a league starter. I would put it like absolutely S tier. This and the Siege Ballista totems, man, some totems are really good right now. It's a little worrying. And my experience, I've done a lot of Infinite Heist with this build as well. My experience is that you can make a lot of money with this build. I don't know if I'm going to go for blueprint reveals and then go into trying to, you know, farm the items in blueprints, either unusual gems or experimented items, that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be a little less profitable than it was last league, but I think it's still going to be pretty decent. I think, yeah, there's a lot of impacts you can have with this build, but I think if you want to just generate a crap ton of currency for your next build, this is a really good way to do it. And Expedition Grand Design is also a really good way to do it. This is great for harvest farming as well. Probably not for harvest farming memories. I haven't tried it with that, but I've tried just throwing on, like, Alcon Go harvest farming, just running maps and waiting for harvest. And it seems like from the Atlas passive skill tree teasers that we've got, it's going to be way easier to force mechanics more reliably in your maps. And I'm hoping that I can get harvest and expedition in every map. Oh man, that would be so good. I would really like that. Please, GGG. Please. Anyway, that's it from me, everybody. I really hope you like this build. I'm going to put my Infinite Heist and this POB, now that it's correct, into the description. And I hope that, you know, you're kind to everyone you meet. I love you all very much. And I'll see you on Friday. Oh, it's getting so close. It's like Christmas. It's almost Christmas. Anyway, that's it for me. Cheers.